Hello, this is Peyton Owens with Ag Environmental Management, and today I'm going to show what comes with the CP5 and then how to properly do a coil wrap around your water pipe. This is what the CP5 is. If you have purchased one, thank you. If you are just looking and interested, this is what it looks like. And on the back, you can see there's schematics with instructions of how to properly set it up. You'll see that this is your water pipe, and the water flows that way down. And so you'll have there's three plug-ins on the bottom, one for power. That's for your sensor wire and ground wire, or excuse me, that is for the coil, and that is for your sensor wire and ground wire. So your sensor wire and ground wire come out, and you'll clamp the sensor wire to the pipe before this coil. The water has to flow to the sensor before it flows through the coil. That's very important. And then you hook up your ground wire to a ground rod in the ground. And then you'll wrap your coil around, and then I'll show you how to do that. But then you plug all that in your power, and then your machine will have a green blinking light on when it is running. And as long as it is all set up properly, you should have nice conditioned water. When you purchase a CP5, it should come with a bag like this, a roll of black and red wire, and then also a power source, just like that. And I'll show you what the plugins look like. They should typically come with plugins like that, red and white ones, and they just plug in straight in the bottom there. Once you get your sensor wire, ground wire, and your coil all done, and they're already all soldered on there. You don't have to worry about doing any of that. Only thing you'll have to do is take the ends and strip them down, and then splice them with your wire nuts to your, either your coil that you'll be making, or your sensor wire, or your ground wire. And sometimes it might come with and they'll come with zip ties as well, to zip tie your wires around your pipe and stuff. And sometimes it might come with, because for bigger pipes, we use an extension cord to make your coil. So it may come with a plug-in like that, which is just a bigger, heavier duty wire. And again, it's already soldered on there. You don't have to worry about that. And you would just have to strip the plastic away and splice it together to your other extension cord wire. And I'll show you what that looks like when you cut the ends off. And sometimes you got to cut this off if you're going strictly to a battery or whatever. These can be powered via a battery if you don't have an AC power source directly there. And usually you can see there's a black wire and a white wire. The white wire is positive. So that's where you would hook up, obviously, to the positive lead. So yeah, that's the other things you may need in the setup process would be more zip ties, come in very handy. Maybe some tape, and hose clamps also come in very handy for your ground rod. Set the wire onto the ground rod and set up the sensor wire to the water pipe. So I will now demonstrate how to set up a coil. Okay, when setting up your coil, we're going to just pretend that this is our water pipe, and we'll say that the water is flowing that way, and we're going to set up our machine over here. So you'll take your wire and you got to measure it out to where you'll be able to splice it to the machine. So then you lay it along your pipe there. And you make a little loop like that, and I have some tape prepared and ready to tape it down to help you hold it. And then if your pipe will obviously be up, you just start going around and around. the pipe. With this, and you'll want that straight underneath it. And you'll just want to keep your coil as tight as you can. And general rule of thumb is at least over a foot, but under 2 feet. So we like to aim for 18 inches if you can. And on bigger pipes, you can use extension cord, little 1 inch, 2 inch. This little electrical wire will work just fine. And it's very important, the water will flow through this, and that's how the CP5 treats the machine, is once it runs through this coil, it'll treat it with an electromagnetic frequency that the machine senses it needs from the sensor wire, which is very important that the sensor wire is before touching or sensing the water before it flows through this coil. So if the water source is coming from over here, you will want your sensor wire somewhere over here before it flows through the coil. And it don't really matter where your machine is compared to everything, just as long as your sensor wire is before the water flows through the coil. The coil can be on metal, copper, PVC pipe, it really don't matter what the coil is put on, but it's very important that sensor wire is touching metal or copper, and we usually just use a hose clamp to clamp it on there. And if it is all PVC pipe, then you need to figure out a way to get that sensor wire, which you just strip the end of, to touch the water, because it will not work through a PVC pipe. It does not conduct through the PVC pipe to the water. Okay, the coil's made a little further along. It is not, they recommend it at least 12 inches long, but for demonstration purposes, I will show you how to finish off your coil then. And once you get it to the proper length, like I said, 18 inches is best, you'll take it, keep it tight along there, and we always just kind of if I can get it, do a little loop like that, and have some tape prepared or a zip tie or something just to help hold it, and then you'll start running along, get it to your length that you need it to go to your machine. Then you'll cut it off there, and splice these two together, and then you'll take it and hook it up to your black wire of the plug that you're going to use for your sensor or for your coil, excuse me. Splice those together and then just splice it to the black and the red. And then plug it in and it should be working. So that is how to properly wrap a coil. And like I said, the key things are just keep it as tight as you can. And if it's much bigger than a pipe than this is only like 7 inches and it took me like 10 minutes. So it takes quite a while. So bigger pipe than this, you'll want to use an extension cord. And you just get an extension cord and you'll cut the ends off. And this is what an extension cord looks like when you cut the ends off. You can either then you wrap it around with just the orange part, but then to splice it and stuff, you'll have to cut and strip away. And you can either splice all 3 of these together, or you can just use the single green wire, or it really don't matter. We always use green, but you can also tie them all together and then splice them to your, obviously you'd want the plug-ins with the green then to splice it because it's heavier duty wire. And then, like I said, for all of our bigger agricultural pivots and everything that have bigger pipes, we use extension cords for everything, for the ground wire and the sensor wire. They just last a lot longer in the elements. These little wires get caught in weeds and everything and just get erode away too fast and get caught too easily and too hard to find. So it's recommended for on larger stuff or outdoor stuff. Just go ahead and use an extension cord and you'll get along a lot better. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to give me a call. Number's on the website, and I'll help you as much as we can to help get it properly installed. The machine will not work right if it is not properly installed. So proper installation is key, and then you will have much better water with this properly installed. Thank you.